we're so happy for you that have tuned in today to our ARA Self-Empowerment Podcast. We have a podcast every week. Our podcast seeks to speak on various topics and subjects. We speak from sports to religion, politics, you name it, we talk about it. And we jump right on in it. And so most of our topics are controversial, but they're to give you enlightenment, for you to share with different friends and with the community. And so if you have an opportunity, I want you to go over to our YouTube channel, ARA Self-Empowerment. Go over also to our Facebook page, ARA Self-Empowerment Podcast. And now today we have a juicy hot topic today, and it is the illusion of inclusion. And I want to, add a little topic with that: America in denial. So I guess we have two topics on today: the illusion of inclusion and America in denial. It just so happened that denial is a self-defense mechanism. And when you deal with the psychology or the pathology, let's say the pathology of people, of all of us, it doesn't matter if it's you that are highly, quote, educated, or you that are blue collars, ministers, evangelists, elders, parents. If we were to be honest with ourselves, all of us, including myself, have things that we can look at and say, you know what? I was in denial about that. Or you know what? I could do better on that. Or you know what? I need to fix that. You know, it would be revolutionary for all people. I'm speaking to all people, all of us, and especially for our children. And I want to really focus on the children. And this is why severe pathology is passed down, is because parents are in denial. You have people in leadership. See, attitude is a reflection of leadership. You see, when you see Jesus Christ as a leader, as an example, one of the things that you see about Jesus, that he was in touch with himself, his spiritual side and his fleshly side. You see Jesus on the cross at the end, he's saying, Lord, why have thou forsaken me? You see Jesus pretty much concerned before he's about to be put to death. He's praying a long time. Lord, if it's possible, can we do something different? He was really concerned. So Jesus was not in denial. So when you see Jesus speaking in the Bible, he's not pulling a John Wayne Mancho a character. He's not doing a Tupac, pretending to be a thug or whatever, if that's a such thing, and then possibly in theater and everything else, but sending all these men to their death, being, oh, I'm bad, I don't care about a bullet, etc., etc. But Jesus Christ was being realistic with himself. And if we had more people in leadership, especially mothers and fathers, that had no problem with saying this word, please forgive me, or Lord, forgive me, or son, daughter, I could have did better. I was wrong. Some people have a problem with just admitting that they're wrong. And that is the main thing that is going on within the United States of America, amongst the African American community and the European American community, because they're in denial about race. European people thought the black people. I want to read this right quick. We're going to get into the subject of the illusion of inclusion. It says, this lady, periodically, we kind of go back and forth. Her, she seems to be a nice lady, nice home, her and her husband, the typical traditional American family. I've seen some of their pictures, great pictures. I like the fact that you have your family intact, a husband and her, and then her sons are doing well. But there's this illusion part of it, the illusion of inclusion, this delusional state, denial. And I want to read this post. It says 21 million black babies, not American babies, black babies have been aborted. Black lives really do matter. That's why I'm pro-life. Really? I want to read that again. And if anybody that's out there listening to this, please work with me, because I'm trying to understand this. 21 million black babies have been aborted. Black lives really do matter. That's why I'm pro-life. Man, that's over half the population of the United States when it comes to African American people. The problem is not so much that you're pro-life. We should all be pro-life. The problem is within the statement, or this, I want to call it a paragraph, in these two sentences, or maybe three sentences, three sentences, is that it's full of double-bind communication. You go out there and you say you're against Black Lives Matter, and I can see why, because I'm not for Black Lives Matter, because black is not a race anyway. So yeah, I'm against Black Lives Matter. I'm for African American Lives Matter, African Lives Matter, Hebrew Lives Matter, believers' lives matter, disciples, American citizens' lives matter. You take a pick with any of what I just said. Those lives matter. People that believe in Jesus Christ, their lives matter. I'm an American citizen first. I'm a Hebrew second when it comes to hear what we write on paper, because if I put Hebrew on the application, they'll look at me crazy. But when it comes to God, I'm a Hebrew first. I accepted Jesus Christ. I'm Hebrew. I'm Hebrew first. Now, if you want where I'm from, my ancestry is from the continent of Africa. I put American because American is a melting pot of many tongues and nationalities and ethnic groups. But I'm just, reading the Bible, I think I can find one part in the Bible, in the book of Solomon, when he described himself as being black, saying because his skin was dark. He was talking about the pigment. But I've never seen them refer to black as a race. It was always Hebrew, or from the tribe of Benjamin, or they were from the Levite. They never said, here come black Jesus. White Jesus, lily white Jesus was crucified. I never heard it. But the fact of the illusion of inclusion is mixed up with this homeostasis that people feel in perfect harmony. If you was to use that in a medical term, of everything is perfect balance. But if you go to the majority of, especially when you leave outside of the ghettos, and I believe that America, whether they tried to do this or not, they have created ghettos in the major cities. When you go to Chicago, Dallas, Memphis, Tennessee, Little Rock, all of these places are ghettos, whereas most African Americans have fled the South or fled the small towns for better opportunities and have been pushed into ghettos where people are fighting over carrots almost. Getting mad at it, angry, stepping on each other's shoes. Nigga, get off me, call each other niggas and all this kind of crazy stuff. And so the illusion of it is that people are under the illusion that they matter. They're included within the system. I can see no more of this in women. Women in America, not all, are under this illusion that they're included, that they matter to most men. Men are good, not all men, but a lot of men are good at that. They give you the illusion that, that they are not controlling. Go ahead and show your booty and breasts and all that kind of stuff. So it's the illusion. Oh, wow, he doesn't say anything that I'm dressing half naked. So the illusion is that I have you thinking that because I'm cool with you dressing half naked, I'm cool with you going out with your girlfriends, that I am not controlling, or that I really care about you and your freedom. But in reality is that I'm playing you so that I can do what I want to do while you all doing what you think you really want to do. It's an illusion. Because the illusion is that you really think you're in a committed relationship. The illusion, you ever seen people try to force people to break up with them so that they can make it feel like, I have to admit, I've been guilty of that in the past. To do something so ridiculous to make them break up, to say, just get away, because I don't have the heart to just break up with you. So I'm going to make you do it. And then when you do it, oh man, but really, thank God. Ooh, praise God. And this is what many people do today. They go around here dressing half naked, thinking, oh, he care about me. But if you was to ask the average guy who gives women this illusion that you can dress half naked, how many women have you been messing with on the side? I mean, if you were just to be honest about it, over half of them. How many women do you have on the side? Why do you think they talk about side chicks? Why is that even a thing? Because most people who dress, I can almost go off on them. I don't have the numbers, but I'm guarantee you almost 70% of the women who are married to a man and you dress half naked, booty out, and you on Facebook and you're married, I can almost guarantee you that the chances of your spouse or significant other being totally faithful to you is almost null. Probably about at a 5% chance. There's a 90 to 95% chance this guy has other women. I don't care if you're married 20, 30 years. You crazy. You are out your mind. You are delusional if you believe that your spouse or significant other is going to clubs, dancing other people, and is faithful to you. Okay. It's cool. Believe it. Believe it. That's an illusion. That's an illusion that you are included into the monogamous relationship that does not exist. There is no monogamous relationship. What are you talking about? What monogamous relationship? And it's the same thing when you look at the United States of America. You have African Americans? I want to show you this. Look at how, and this is the devil, and it's not just Europeans or European Americans. So let me back up. I always have to say this because all European Americans are not the same. All African Americans or Africans are not the same. All Europeans, whatever title or continent you come from, Asian American, Japanese, Vietnamese, Korean, we can keep going on and on. Hebrew, Jewish, if you want to say Jewish, whatever you want to say. No two people are the same. But I want you to know most people are in denial. Satan is in denial. You have to be in denial to be into heaven and actually think you still got a chance. Like, man, it's something. And so the thing about being here in America, the illusion of inclusion, America in denial, is that let me show this, and I'm kind of hitting all over the place, but let me show you this. Look at how you see so many African Americans, aka black people, because we want to see black people. And I want to break that down for you to make you think, or hope you can think. You look at, have you ever been to Africa, seen African Americans go to African American owned businesses or black owned businesses? And then they say, why you don't have this and why you don't have this? Why is it when we go into African Americans, also known as black owned businesses, they don't have the best product or new stuff and that's it. And then you ask them, how much money are you supporting the African American business or the black owned business so that they can have those new things? See, most of you will spend your money at smoke shop, dope house, weed houses, and sports entertainment, and back to predominantly European American, or what you want to say, white owned businesses. You'll give them big money and then give the African American business crumbs. And as I heard a man say, he said, I got $3, or he may have said $2. And they said they fight all the time. He said, which one wins? He said, the one I feed the most. You feed European American business the most. So why shouldn't they have better businesses and stay open longer? And we will not support African American businesses and then complain about the way the business look. They don't have fresh stuff and they don't have new. It takes money to do that. It takes money. And then we sit back and watch one another crumble and then say, I knew it wasn't going to last. I knew it wasn't going to work. Sure, not going to work, not without support. Not without support. People have this illusion that they are included. Just like I just read this pad, this, I don't know if you want to call it a post or a flyer, a meme, or I would call it a meme because it's not real. It's rhetoric because it's not facts, it's rhetoric. Because the rhetoric to it is that you have 21 million so-called black babies that I just read. They talk about, and we're concerned about our babies. Our babies? So of the 21 million so-called black babies, what was the DNA of the fathers? Do you know who the fathers was? So you're just going to throw it out there to black babies and just say black babies, but, well, I mean, like, define black. Like, okay, so here you have a person that has European, Asian in them. What are they? I'm just trying to figure this out. We just say black? We look at, I was listening to Officer Tatum. He was talking about Mr. Freeman, who was the head coach of the Penn State, Penn State Lions, Nittany Lions. And so he said that he was okay with the attachment of being possibly the first black head coach to play in a national championship game. Officer Tatum takes a problem with that by saying, wait a minute, you're not even really black, bro. You biracial. And I look at Officer Tatum, I'm like, dude, you don't look like you're totally African yourself. I mean, which African language are you speaking, Officer Tatum? I mean, go do your DNA. What is in your DNA? So are you really black yourself, or what are you? I mean, I did my DNA test and I'm 86% African ancestry, and then I'm 14% European. So I'm African American. What do I just dismiss the 14% and just think about the 86, which that's what I want to do? But I cannot deny that, hey, it's 14% of me has European DNA. Officer Tatum, you can't deny it either because I'm looking at you. And neither can Freeman. But Freeman understands what he's up against. He's up against cognitive dissonance, double-bind communication, contradictions out the wazoo. We can't even come up with a definition for race. I mean, like most of the people in America that is of African ancestry is mixed with European DNA from rape and pedophilia. Now that's where we have to start. Well, man, that's a hard pill to swallow. That's why folks are in denial. Man, it's a hard pill to swallow to admit. And so is Europeans. Europeans are really hard to, they're talking about, quote, black people doing this and black this. But what you will not admit to is that your ancestors put pathology in those Africans. You know, that pathology was inserted. You know, you see kids going around doing things and we want to look at the kids. No, man, go look at the parents. Go look at the parents. People want to say, well, you wasn't enslaved. You know, I'm not going to say H-E-L-L, the devil. I'm just going to say the devil is a lie. I was in slavery because my central nervous system is an extension of my parents. Their CNA is an extension of theirs. There is no start up fresh. When you are born, you are an extension. This is a marathon. This is a triathlon. You are an extension of your forefathers, whether you like that or not. So you got some pedophile raping kids and raping boys, and he produces a child. A part of that dysfunction and pathology has been inserted into that child. Whether you want. And that's why do you think in the Old Testament Jesus said stone him? Well, not Jesus, God. Why? I mean, have y'all ever thought of that? Why did they stone him? It's the same thing with the movie Alien. Why do you think when they knew they had the alien, they killed him, burned him up? Ooh, it was no hope, dude. You got the alien. Oh, no. Oh, my God. It's the same thing with the Night of the Walking Dead. Once you bit, it's like, oh, God. Oh, my God, I've been bit. Next thing, you've been infested, buddy. You're infested. So if you see people that have pedophilia problems, it's because your daddy or your mama had it. And it probably was enforced on them. It probably, you know, I feel bad for a lot of young men who that I know of, and young women that I see them being what we call butchers. They have been infected. And now they're embracing, want to be like a man walking around with their pants sagging, talking about they're a stud. But notice that they have children. Notice that you went in there and slept with a man. You ain't too much of a stud. You went and slept with a dude. Have you noticed that most so-called, what they call them, studs, I guess, you know, the women have you noticed most of them had children? Most of them, if you trace their pathology, you will see that at some point they were dressing normal. They had a boyfriend or had a husband. And, you know, people always say, oh, I was fighting it. Oh, yes, you was fighting the evolution of the disease. It's just like you try to fight a cold. You got a cold. You don't sit there and you try to take NyQuil, you take lemon juice, whatever you can do. You trying to get the cold off of you until I guess some of you most of the people who died just gave in to it. You died. A lot of people who have these problems, they give in to it. Okay, well, shoot, I'm a stud. A lot of you booty getters, you just become homosexuals. Okay. Instead of saying, hey man, something's wrong with me, something got in me. I remember in the movie Dead President, the dude was doing drugs. He said, man, something got in me when I was over at Vietnam. And I want you to know every nationality, every race has something in them. Now, you can get mad if you want to. They love to talk about per capita. And when you look at per capita, a lot of people talk about per capita, but they really don't discuss per capita in a more understanding and break it down. So a lot of time when you say that, it's just out there. So if I was to say the African males or African American males lead in crime or they lead in going to jail per capita, that's in so many terms. Break it down. That means that per every 1,000 African American males, there are more going to jail than it is per 1,000 European American males. And we can look at that as them being violent and criminal, or, which a lot of people don't want to choose to realize it, we can look at it from this perspective, that they are being oppressed more. They're being targeted more. They have more pathology. They may have more mental health issues because of they're no longer a slave of the plantation, but now you have become a slave of society. That when you walk in a store, you look that crazy. When you walk into school, you look that crazy. If you wear a ball cap, say you graduated from college, people don't believe it. You are a slave to society. You are even a slave to your own community. When you go and try to speak to a African American woman, they look at you that you're most likely not able to take care of them or protect them, let alone take care of yourself. You have become a slave of society that every turn you have to prove yourself. And it's the illusion of inclusion. And people have learned to adapt to this. And they say it's better off for me to marry me a so-called white woman. And then they make up excuses. I don't want to be with no white man, an African American or black man, because they do this and they do this. So you have taken on of the false narrative that society has given you. That's illusion. Right here, 21 million black babies. Really? And so the problem within that statement is, number one, you have not defined black, because black is not a race, it's a social construct. Everybody knows it. Okay, we know, but let's just keep pretending. We know it's not a race, but for the sake of us, we know we say black. Okay. And so what people don't realize is that when you look at per capita, look at most of the cities that's less than 300,000. Look at the mayors and ask them how many African American male businesses owned by business, whether a small business or whatever, that are owned by African American men. They're subscribed to African American black. Ask that in the majority of small, less than 300,000. We're not talking about the ghettos, because I call the big cities no more than the ghettos. I'm telling you, it's probably less than 2% or 5%. And what I mean is, I'm not talking about just some small business where somebody is just making some cookies or something, baking some cookies. I got a business, I bake cookies. I'm talking about a business that employs over 20 people. A business that's in the manufacturing, A business that when you have a problem, see, the difference between the African American man and the European American, or we want to say black versus white man, a white man can go to prison but yet come back home and find a job because he knows people that looks like him, that forget about the background check, forget about his history, and will give him an instant chance. He can go into my cousins and somebody that know and say, hey, go ahead and hire him. He can take a shower, get a shave, and go right to work. The African American black man goes back, and if most of the people that own the businesses don't look like him, they're not connected. So he can't go to his uncle and say, Daddy, put me to work. Daddy, put me to work. And if you can't work, as they say, if you're not working, you stealing. What wife can you have? So here we have the African American, aka black woman, who may not have all those problems, just like it was in slavery. Yeah, they treated African American women bad in slavery, but they were able to have sex with them, comfort girls, breed with them, which is going on today. It goes on today. People have the illusion of inclusion. Look at the number of African Americans that have money. I'm going to show you an example. We're going to go to sports because America loves sports. When you look at sports, look at all the millionaires that we have from sports. And then look at who they marry. They marry a Hispanic woman or a European American woman. And I want to show you this too, illusion of inclusion. A lot of you are ignorant. You think that because somebody is of Hispanic or Mexican heritage, there is a difference in how they look at that. You know, people just assume, especially African Americans, aka black people within the United States of America, you just assume because somebody speaks Spanish that they understand your struggle. Well, all you have to do is go back to history. There were 3 people that they claimed to not like, and that was Jewish people, Mexicans, and so-called what they call niggas, which is aka black people. Them 3 people they said they didn't like. So there is a large amount of people that speak Spanish that does not subscribe to being Mexican, and will get mad at you for calling them a Mexican. Because they see Mexicans as mixed up with indigenous, possibly black, and some of everything else. When they say Hispanic subscribe to their Spanish heritage of Spain, which is in Europe, or their indigenous culture in South America and some of the what they would call Aztec and Inca. We built empires. They that kind of heritage. We weren't the one that was getting lynched up in Arizona and California. No, sir, that's not us. We are the Spaniard. So when you think just because somebody speaks Spanish, they're your buddy, and they cool to call you a nigga. Yeah, you cool. You honorary. You can say nigga. Yeah, calling you a nigga in your face and laughing behind your back. I call him a nigga. He didn't say nothing. And this is the illusion. The illusion of inclusion is that you have this illusion because somebody speaks Spanish that they understand you. And I'm not saying all of them are this way. When in the reality of it is, they're playing you for a fool. And they're playing our children for fools because as parents and as community leaders, we're not teaching our children and we're not teaching our sons and our daughters. The first thing they do is to go down there and go to college or go somewhere where there's money in their face. And then they say, you know what? She understands me better. I'm going to marry me an Asian woman. Is not less drawn. All of that would be cool if we took away off the applications and there's no longer black, white, it's just, are you an American citizen? If we just said, if this post had said 21 million American babies aborted, I wouldn't have a problem. We wouldn't have a problem. 21 million American babies aborted. 21 million American men in prison. I wouldn't have a problem. We wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't even have a problem with interracial marriage, so to speak, because technically most of us, almost 80 to 90% of us are interracial anyway, because we're mixed. All of us mostly. Very few people are 100%. I'm not saying there are not any 100% Africans in America or 100% so-called Europeans or whatever. But for the most part, America is a melting pot. But if we're not going to get rid of all this nonsense of black and white, and we're going to keep on talking about black people do this, black people do that, then we need to show some positive examples then. Then there needs to be an African-American woman and an African-American man married and have some children to show different. You can't keep saying all these problems and then say, what are we going to do about it? Well, then you need to show positive examples. Attitude is a reflection of leadership. People change by what they see, not what they don't see. You can't expect somebody to do better when they keep seeing mess. You can't expect somebody's self-esteem to be high when you keep beating it up on TV, on the school and everything else. All they keep hearing is I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm ugly, I'm ugly. And you expect them to walk in there with their chest out. That doesn't even make sense. Over half of African American women have low self-esteem about their looks. That's why most of them wearing weaves to try to make their hair look like somebody else's. Let's just keep it 100. Half of African Americans, over half, I'm not exact, over half are trying to express themselves through a booty instead of a face. I guess they got a booty face, so to speak. Booty for a face. Because this is how they see my booty. Because I already know my face is considered dark or black or not as. So, and then let's be honest with you. Now you have a lot of European Americans, let's keep it 100. They're trying to take on the narrative of having a booty too. So they get booty injections. You see a lot of European American women now taking on the narrative. So it's kind of, this is why the Republican Party is panicking. They're like, oh Lord, oh Jesus. We was trying to make all the African American women hoes. Our kids coming hoes. Oh gee. Now their daughters are on TV bucking booty out and giving all it was a consequence that they didn't realize was going to happen. They call themselves destroying the African American family unit, and it's kind of coming back on them. So the election of Donald Trump was more of we need to take this country back. We need to stop this, man. It was okay when we were tearing up their side. What you mean our side? See, it's the illusion of inclusion. See, they don't want to give you anything and don't want you to they don't even want you to earn it. They don't even want you to build it. This is why they'll always say, your side of town, we gave y'all. No, you ain't gave them nothing. Because have you noticed any side of the town that throughout the whole United States of America that African Americans claim is always run down? When I was coming up, whenever you seen Martin Luther King Boulevard, you knew you was in a terrible neighborhood. You're not going in down Martin Luther King Boulevard and seeing townhomes and nice buildings. It's always people standing out there smoking cigarette, run down, people on the corner, hoes and everything else. They love that. And one thing about the racists, not all of them, but the ones that are, they love to see that, their children see that. Yeah. They love that rap music. I had to go down, I had to do what I do, kill four in a day. Yeah. But notice when Bill Cosby produced the Cosby Show, there were European Americans mad about that, saying that's not real. They said, but they love Good Times. But they didn't like Bill Cosby. He was playing a doctor and the wife was a lawyer. They had all the kids. It was two parents. Take that down. That's not real. They don't want that. They don't want that in their faith. They don't want you to have a African American business where their children, they can see it. They want you somewhere at a rundown part. No, you belong over there. To promote the narrative. It's the illusion of inclusion. The illusion of inclusion is that we allow you to think you included, provided you stay in your place or in a certain area, which is what Germany did to the Jews. Stripped them of their deeds, put them in an area called the ghetto, and it was all tore up. And the people who were more civil became brutish, fighting over pancakes, eggs, anything they could get. I don't care what you do. Take the most civil people, lawyers and doctors and all, push them in the area of poverty and see how they act. Limit their resources, limit their ability to produce manufacturing jobs. Limit their ability to farm and to have agriculture. African Americans within the United States are almost totally dependent on European America once again. Where they were farming, they have pushed that away. Where they had agriculture, they have pushed that away. You have now put yourself in a position of entertainment. Even your churches, as big as your churches, all they are nothing but entertainment. You got all this money coming into the churches, but even the churches are not really producing within those communities to produce people that are able to sustain themselves, to be able to form, to be able to employ. And then you want your side of town, which is nothing but the plan of the Confederacy to push you right back to Jim Crow. To segregation. Segregation wouldn't be a problem if you had the same as them. What I mean by that, segregation would be a good thing if you had a nation or an all African American state with its own National Guard, own military, own foreman. If you don't have that, brother, all you doing is going into a ghetto, into a barn, being dependent on them. Because at any time they want to do anything to you, they can, because they have the manufacturing, they have the weapons, they have the advantage. And now I'm going to show you something. Now the illusion is that people are going into interracial marriages, further diluting you, where they're sitting right there with a European American wife talking about African Americans and then say, but I got an African American husband, so I have a right to say it. My kids mixed. How could I be a bigot? This is so hilarious because what do you mean? I was just looking on a video. The guy said this is 1986 because the African American woman was mad at the African American doctor. Both of them was mixed, just like me. We're all mixed. And here comes a European American, and he said something to the other man. You leave her alone. And he said, "Wow, you a white guy." And he said, "Man, this is 1986 stuff." 1986, brother. Brother, 1986 from 1968. That's less than 20 years. That's like almost a teenage. How do you think that you just signed a civil rights legislation in 68 and in 86? This is the illusion that a piece of paper can be signed and in less than 20 years believe that pathology, trauma, all this impoverished generation, what? It just, everything is different. Here we are in 2025 from 1968, or we can talk from 2000. People believe in 25 years now, 25 years. And people believe in 55 years. 55 years because you come up with some legislation and you came up with some interracial marriages. And because now you got some further multiracial children from some biracial children because they were already mixing up in slavery. So now everything that was done from the 1500s up into 1970, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, almost 500 years of all this nonsense, and you thinking in 55 years it just wipes it out. It's everything fresh now. Stop all that mess, gonna move on. And you still have Confederate monuments and flags on government building property. We're not talking about in museums and a cemetery. We're talking about on government property where everybody pays taxes. And notice the illusion of inclusion. The illusion is that they can put a felony on you, but your felony does not exempt you from paying taxes. It does not exempt you from paying city fines and keeping up the infrastructure, but it exempts you from having a say in what goes on. Isn't that taxation without representation? That's the same thing that Britain was doing at the beginning. That's why they had the Revolutionary War, the Tea Party, the Boston Tea Party. Taxation without representation. They said double jeopardy. You cannot turn around and convict somebody of a crime that they have already paid for. Because it's supposed to be double jeopardy, but they have a way of doing it anyway. Well, we just going to talk about the pattern, what they did before. And you basically are convicting them over again, based on something that you don't even know that happened or not. Which is what they did to O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was found innocent. He goes into downtown, wherever he was, and taking back his stuff. Instead of them trying him on that first time, they took what happened, which was he was found innocent of, and they used it against him. That's double jeopardy. But European Americans, have a way of doing stuff like that. But to show you this is how they do it, it's the illusion of inclusion. Look how Donald Trump, look how all the stuff Donald Trump has done in life. Look at all the Playboy magazines and all this kind of stuff. But they just say, nah, that don't matter. No, he's been upstairs. We can't use that again. No. It's different because he's European American. Only when you're not included as white, period. The white pure race. It's the illusion of inclusion. They are deceiving our young women so badly. Now, I'm not telling you because you're African American, go marry an African American man, just pick one and it's going to work out. Shoot, it could turn out bad for you. You still have to vet that situation. You still have to know what you're doing. You just can't say, oh, I'm an African American woman, you're African American, get married. It's going to work out. It still can be a problem. But I will tell you this. If you believe that by marrying a European American man and you're an African American woman, that you can't decide who you love. It just happens. That is the same as thinking that slavery just happened. We can't decide how it just happened. What? Slavery didn't just happen. Jim Crow just didn't happen. It was planned. It was orchestrated. They don't even enter into marriages just because it's planned. They talked about it. They went with their parents. They planned those marriages. And they don't have a problem with marrying an African-American man for wealth. They did that back in the day. Plantation owners breeded African, put their seed, made babies, and then still kept them as slaves. They were just some highly yellow slaves. You can work in the house. They had plenty of slave women. Wild folks thinking today that this is something new. I got an African-American husband. How could I be a racist? The same way the plantation owners were. They had plenty of women that they were sleeping with and still were slaves. Look at the movie Django. Calvin was sleeping with an African right there. But look what he was doing in the plantation. Our presidents slept with black women. They love black women. They've been loving so-called black women forever. This is nothing new. It's that spirit. See, that's a demon spirit. Let me explain something to you. I'm gonna tell you how the devil works. How it's a spirit, it's a demon spirit. See, if you listen to some demonic men, I don't care what race they are, demonic men, it's like they get off on sleeping with other people's spouses. That's a demon. Somebody could not even be that attractive, but they'll look at them and like, oh, I want to screw her. I want to have sex. And I hate to say it that way. That's how they think. But it's not so much as I want her as my wife. I just want to humiliate her husband. There are women like that. They don't even want the man. They just want to humiliate the wife. They'll sit there and go, I'm going to sleep with her man. I don't want him. I just want to humiliate. Who is that? That's a demon. That is a demon. It's humiliation. Then go back. I slept with her man. A demon will humiliate himself to humiliate somebody else. Well, if you sleep with somebody else's spouse, what does that make you? They don't care. They don't care. They just want you to be humiliated like they are. It is a disease. Some people have been humiliated. Some people have been raped. I don't know. And I'm not to say this in a mean way. You see people going to prison. You see all these prison shows and talking about, well, when you get to prison, you got to watch your booty, get your booty. Wait a minute. So y'all got all these guards in prison, and how are y'all allowing people to get each other booty? And why are you getting somebody booty going into prison anyway? Like, I'm not saying go masturbate, but there are other options. Couldn't you just masturbate? What is it about getting this man booty? You was a homosexual already before you went in there, bro. You was a lesbian before you went in there. And so what happens is you have people passing it on. Whether you go into prison, whether you're in the neighborhood, whether you're in the church, that disease. So if they were butt broken, somebody got their booty, they pass it on. I'm going to get somebody else's booty. I don't know if P. Diddy did what they accusing him of. I'm not going to say he did, but I will say this. It is more likely, if all that stuff is true, then somebody must have did that to him. He had to, this is a theory, in theory. I'm not saying it's true. A man that goes around trying to get somebody's booty had to have had that happen to him. Meaning, you're not going out here trying to rape men. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get him. Okay, that was passed down, brother. Either that happened to him or through birth is in his DNA. This is why it is not smart to say to somebody you wasn't a slave. That's crazy. Yes, they were, because it's passed down neurology, in their neurology, in their mind. Pathology is passed down through DNA and through socialization. See, so when you're looking at TV and you at school, this is why when you go to college or children are picking college, you need to make sure your child is picking the right school. It's not that school is bad, but if you pick the wrong university through socialization, you can come back with a pervert. You can come back with a dyke. You can come back with a hoe, an educated hoe, an educated pimp. Because your socialization, who you're around, now your buddies, your friends, you begin to adapt and change, and then you become to evolve. Homosexuality is an evolution. Transgender and all this other stuff, it's an evolution from slavery. So the illusion here is that people now, why do you see so much of this? Just look around. I live in a small town, and almost most of the married couples of African Americans, men, I see them with the other race. I'm hard pressed to find an African American man married to an African American woman. Every time I look up, the majority are married to a Hispanic woman or a European American woman. But yet they putting up Martin Luther King and all this kind of stuff about, and a lot of them talking about reparations. So you expect this country to give reparations based on slavery, but you could marry a woman based on reparations. Make it make sense. So you mean to tell me you couldn't make sure that an African American woman had a husband? I understand. I'm not saying you just got to pick one. I mean, it's 20 some million, almost 30 million African women or African American women in this world. And you just had to go marry the other race that enslaved you, that mix you up. I understand we're all mixed, but you don't have to keep mixing. See, you can be divorced. That doesn't mean you have to keep divorcing. People say that all the time. We all mixed in. That's true. A lot of us divorced, but should we just keep getting divorces? Maybe when you committed adultery, you fornicated, whatever, should you just keep doing that? Okay, we understand that we're a mix, all is mixed. But, okay, what's left? Can we work with that? But if you don't want to work with that, stop talking about black, white. See, that's all I'm saying. Stop talking black and white. Stop with the illusion of inclusion. If we're all included, let's stick with American. Let's stay there. Quit putting on these applications black. They asked me on my business, do you subscribe to black owned? I said, no, I do not subscribe on black owned because I'm not black. I'm African American. I'm Hebrew. I accepted Jesus Christ. The Bible said Jesus was a Hebrew. It did not say Jesus was a black or white man, brown man or green. It said he was a Hebrew. That's what it designated who he was. Now, why did the Bible give Jesus a title other than a color? Since we're such a Judeo-Christian nation. What color was Jesus? The Bible said he was Hebrew. Isn't that amazing? Jesus had a title and it wasn't by color, but now they give us all colors. And what does that mean? People say, well, Europeans got a color. Yes, they have said that they are on the level of God. See, now they ain't going to identify the races. That's what that said. It said that we are on the level of God. We name the animals. We name the humans. We give everybody a race. We gave ourselves a race. Now y'all got a race. We white, y'all black. And how can we all be black when all of us are not even from the same ethnic group in Africa? Africans were not all speaking the same language. They didn't have all the same cultures, even though they were on the same continent. So you just say, we just wipe all that, y'all white. I mean, y'all black. Y'all black. But notice that everybody that's on the Asian continent, because when you look at Europe, which connects with Asia, you can ride right on into Russia. They don't really see Russia as white. At least the Nazi party didn't. The Nazi party did not see Russia as white. They saw them as Slavs and mixed and whatever. So it's all about pigmentation. Why they not white? Because they had the same pigmentation y'all did. See, it's all about playing God. We decide who's white and we decide black, and everybody black is beneath us, and everybody white is pure, and we're gods. We descended from heaven, and we're gods. It's our destiny to rule the world. And let me give you this little theory. The fact is, when you look at weapons of mass destruction, weapons that was given to them for supreme, that was given by demons. See, God is not giving people knowledge to destroy mankind. The only people to give that kind of knowledge is devils. So you had a lot of folk in Europe that was over there talking to the devil. And then you had some folk that was in Africa that was talking to the devil too. And devils will play each other. See, they'll fight against each other too. That's why hell is going to be a mess. They're not going to be all out there just mad. They're going to be fighting against each other, doing some everything. And so the devil gave them knowledge how to come up with iron and weapons of mass destruction, cannons, 50 cal machine guns, nuclear subs. The devil gave them that knowledge. And so the illusion today, here's how people don't see it. The illusion today is to pretend that we're all one, but still calling each other by name differently. How are we all one? You keep saying black. It's by pigmentation identification. But black is not a race though. Because it's all about pigmentation. What color are the Chinese? What color are the Vietnamese? What color are the Koreans? What color are the Russians? Have you noticed that they're asked on an application that asks, are you Hispanic white or Hispanic non-white? How can you be Hispanic non-white? Hispanic, white, non-white, you got the same pigmentation. I thought you said it was about pigmentation. We know what that means. That means, do you subscribe to Spain or do you subscribe to the Mexicans where indigenous and black mix? So which one are you? This is why so many Spanish people voted for Donald Trump. They were saying, we're not with them. We're not Mexicans. Call a person from South America Mexican and see what happens. They'll get mad. Don't you call me no Mexican. Wait a minute, what? Mexican? They all have their different languages and different titles and different subgroups and different I'm higher. Everybody tries to be I'm better or lower. And that's what's going on in America. When you look at Lyrian therapy, Jim Adler, and you look at that research, children as young as 5 and 6 they learn to say, I'm better than you. That's why in high school, people talk, they want to be better. It doesn't matter what race. And so what you have in the United States of America, it is a melting pot, but you have people jockeying for inclusion. I want to be included into the white race. So there are Spanish people that says I'm honorary white. There are African American or AKA black people who say I'm honorary. Just like the lady who posted, she's honorary. She's honorary white. She sees herself as honorary white, even though other people see her as black, but it's the illusion that you included. Just like in the movie Django, he told them to go, and she said, I'm not talking about you. She said, I know you weren't talking about me. In the movie Glory, he said, you thought you were different. You see the character Denzel tell the other guy, he said, you thought you were different, huh? There's a lot of African Americans that think they different. Just because you're a constable, a sheriff, you work for the police department. I'm not saying all of them are bad. We thank God for the law enforcement that are for everybody. But there are some, don't think just because they got dark skin, they're for you. They think that they see themselves as honorary white. They're with Donald Trump. Call him a brother if you want to. Brother, they want everybody to know. Brother, don't call me no brother. We ain't related. They want all the so-called white people to know that I'm not with them. I'm with y'all.